Welcome to the Determined People podcast. We are committed to spreading encouragement, strength, and hope to a world in desperate need of it. Everywhere you look in today's culture, you see stories of remarkable people experiencing remarkable success. Our show focuses on the backstories of everyday, relatable people who have achieved greatness in their lives. We focus on the story behind what we see in the world. Our hope is that you find yourself in these stories, that you say, if that person made it, so can I. And now, our host, John Harrell.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Our show is about encouragement, strength, and hope. And I think you'll agree our world needs those things desperately right now. I have a favor to ask of you before we get started with today's interview. Hit that subscribe button, please. That way, every time that we publish an interview, it's going to be delivered directly to your inbox. And share it with your friends and family. Everybody needs encouragement, and they need to find strength and hope in their lives. It's just part of the human experience. And then go to the audio podcast. If you go Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Google, you name it, I'm there. Every day, I put out a 30 to 40 second inspirational thought there. It's not something rah-rah. I don't do that. It could be something as simple as be kind to everyone, even those who don't deserve your kindness, because we just don't know what lies beneath. Just a thought like that. It's a great way to start your day, and it's not long. So would appreciate if you did that as well. So I have a question for you, though. Have you ever wanted to write a book or even write a screenplay? Well, our guest today has written 8 books, and he's got some screenplays in play. His first book, Still River, came out in 2005. We're going to talk about this, his writing process, and also his latest venture, which is called Shit Squad. Okay, I laughed and I love it. I love the title. It kind of gives all these ideas in my head. But let me read you a couple of great high praise for his initial novel, which became, these are all bestsellers. So, quote, this is from Jeff Abbott, who's a 3-time Edgar nominee and author of Panic. Still River is a marvelously written debut with vivid characters, a terrific plot, and richly portrayed Dallas from its glories to its gutters. Private Eye Lee Hank Oswald is everything a reader wants in a hero. Tough, but good-hearted. Fearless, yet flawed. Harry Hunsicker puts Dallas squarely on the modern mystery map with his outstanding novel. One more. This is fast-paced action with plenty of laughs along the way. True. Harry Hunsicker creates characters as big and bold as Dallas by Ben Rader, author of Bone Dry and Buck Fever. So, welcome to the show, Harry. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Yes. Glad to be here. Thanks for talking about my book.
Absolutely.
Number one, yeah.
So let's get into this. So it takes all these things: encouragement, strength, and hope to write a book. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
How long have you wanted to write? When did you?
I've wanted to write my entire life. I think, looking back, you don't really know. It's something that's in the back of your head. I've wanted to write my entire life. When it took forever to get to a place where I started to write. The first time I tried to write was when I was 10 years old. Somebody gave me a typewriter for Christmas, and it was the old kind. It wasn't an electric kind. It was a clickety-clack kind, where the keys get stuck together. So somebody gave me a typewriter, and I sat down and tried to write it. My first thing was a screenplay, and I tried to write this screenplay. And seeing as how it's Christmas time, the story that I wrote was about Mary and Joseph coming to Dallas and Mary having the baby Jesus in Dallas instead of Bethlehem. And then the ending was after she had the baby Jesus, they all went shopping at Neiman's. So it kind of works on several different levels. But
yeah, a great Dallas story.
Yeah, nothing came of that, unfortunately.
Well, there's still hope.
There's still hope. Yeah.
It's not.
I lost the copy to that. I don't know what happened to it.
It's in play now. So, but I think that's brilliant. Now, you got a typewriter for Christmas as a 10-year-old kid. Were they trying to punish you or something?
I don't know. No, I think they knew. I think my parents knew even then that there was something going on with me in words. I love to read. Huge reader, and that's where writing comes from, really.
Yeah. So how did you finally decide I'm going to write the book?
So I was 10 years old. Almost 30 years go by, and I've had this huge collection of how to write books. Books on how to write, and then I have an even bigger collection of novels. And I finally figured out as the new millennium was, we kind of crested into the new millennium, and I had a birthday with a 0 in it coming up, and I thought, if I'm gonna do this, there's only so many days left. I had that moment. I know a lot of people have that moment. You get to a certain age where you realize, I don't have much time. I don't have all the time in the world left. So I took some classes at SMU. They had a great continuing education creative writing department at the continuing education. And that kind of got me started. And I ended up writing Still River. I can talk more about that, which is it's an ordeal. And it was a total learning experience. It was way outside my comfort zone. Growth comes from stepping outside your comfort zone. And I grew a lot because it was way outside that.
How long did it take you to write it?
So I tried to write a book. I tried to write the great American novel before I wrote Still River. And I wrote about 100 pages in 6 months of the great American novel. And they sucked. It was about a guy named Bob. And Bob was the most boring individual who ever graced the page. Bob would eat a sandwich and ruminate on what that meant to his life. And then he might drive across town and get a cup of coffee and think more about what that meant on his life. So after 6 months and 100 pages, I knew it would be hard, but I didn't think it would be this hard. So after about 6 months of that, I did what anybody would do. I killed Bob and buried him in a desk drawer. And then I sat down and I had a long, hard look at my bookshelves. And I realized that I didn't read a lot of great American novels. I read a lot of mysteries, a lot of thrillers, a lot of detective stories, and things like that. So I came up with the idea that I should probably write a mystery or a thriller. And I knew I wanted to have a character tied to Dallas. I knew I wanted to write about Dallas because that's where I'm from. I wanted to make the city and the area kind of a character unto itself. So I sat down and I knew I wanted to have a name that was tied to the area. And for a while, I thought about writing about a hitman named Tom Landry. But I thought, well, they're going to run me out of town on that. Then I thought about doing some variation on J.R. Ewing and thought, no, that's not the Dallas I want to do. So I settled on I thought, well, what else is Dallas known for? And well, the Kennedy assassination. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write about a detective named Lee Oswald. Oh, he's not Lee Harvey Oswald. His name is Lee Henry Oswald. And that's just kind of the burden he carries with him. And so once I did that, everything fell into place. And it took 6 months to write that book, Still River.
Oh, wow.
It took 6 months of agony of writing this other thing, and then 6 months of really fairly, I won't say it was easy. I don't want to say it was easy, but relatively easy to write Still River.
Now, if you named a hitman Jerry Jones, they probably would give you the key to the city. Okay? Yeah, Tom Landry, no.
Tom Landry, no.
He's
Right.
too revered and all. But so let's talk about Lee Oswald in Dallas,
Right.
okay? And I do love the way that you took the entire city and put anywhere from Park Cities to some of the seediest parts of town into it. And because I lived in Dallas 11 years, and I love the city here. But walk me through how you came up, start to finish, with the idea. Did you start writing with you knew how it was going to end?
So that's an interesting question. I get asked that a lot. I get asked about, do you outline or do you not outline? And we could be here all day talking about that. I'm, for the record, I believe in some kind of an outline, but I sat down and I did this horrible thing with Bob and got rid of him. And I sat down and I knew I wanted to write about a detective in Dallas, and I knew his name, I knew he was a detective, and that was all I had. And I had a blank page, and that's it. And I knew that there was something. I knew there was a book inside of me. And so this strange thing happened to me. It has only happened one other time, but this opening line popped in my head, and I typed it down, and I looked at it, and I thought, that's a pretty good line. So I wrote another line after that, and another sentence, and a few more. And after a while, after half an hour, I had 2 paragraphs maybe. And I thought, those were pretty good paragraphs. And from that opening line in the first couple paragraphs, just the clouds shifted in my head, and I saw the ending to a story. And then the clouds shifted a little bit more, and I saw a large chunk of the middle of a story. So I kept writing. I finished the first chapter that day. The next day I came back and read it and said, yeah, that's pretty good. So I wrote another chapter. I still thought about the ending. I thought, that's still a good ending. The middle's still pretty good. And long story short, 6 months later, I finished the book. So it came to me out of the blue, just got in touch with what was inside of me. Stephen King says stories are like fossils inside you, and your job is to chip away the rock and to get to the fossil and to kind of to lift up what's inside and bring it out. And I think that's a great way. That's a great analogy about what the creative process is for writers.
God, what kind of fossils is he chipping away
What
at?
kind of fossils does he have? I mean, yes.
Ooh, yeah, I won't watch his stuff and made it into movies. I just can't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't do it.
He's a great storyteller, but
He
he's
is.
dark. He's a little dark. Yeah.
Yes, he is. So let's keep moving on here because it is brilliant and it comes together well. But you've got conflict on just about every page.
Well, yeah, drama is conflict. You have to have conflict on every single page. That's what keeps people turning the pages.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So Lee must have been a really tough guy from like kindergarten on, being on the playground because he gets beat up a lot in here.
He does. Yeah, he has first book. You want a lot of conflict, and so he has a hard time with a lot of the bad guys. Yeah.
So let's talk about your writing process. I read somewhere where Hemingway would get up and write every day, no matter how hungover he was, he still did it every day.
He was always hungover.
Yeah, pretty much. It didn't end well for Hemingway either.
No.
Do you write every day, or do you just? How do you do it?
I do write every day, and I try to write every morning because I finally, after almost 20 years, I figured out morning really is the best. Mm-hmm. And I finally, in the last few months, really a pandemic thing, figured out that the absolute first thing in the morning is the best for me because that's when everything's fresh and you're not cluttered with the stuff that goes on during the day.
Yeah, day-to-day noise.
Day-to-day noise.
So do you have a certain amount of time that you write or just when you finally run out of creativity?
When I run out of creativity or when something else happens, because you know how life is. You've got appointments and whatnot. And I try not to overload the morning with that. But
so when you got Still River as far as you could get it. And let's talk about that for a second because a lot of writers can be very insecure about their work and they want to keep adding and taking away and editing and all. But you get to a point where you finally know, I can't take this any farther.
Right.
What was the process of getting it published in front of publishers?
So that's another interesting topic. I finished it in 6 months and I figured out that I wasn't doing, I love the process. I'm in love with actual creation. But I figured out that I wanted to see it in bookstores. And to do that, I figured out I researched the publishing world enough to know that self-publishing was not going to be for me because I wanted the money to kind of come to me. If there was going to be any money, I wanted it to come to me. Mm-hmm. So after that, I realized I needed an agent. So I learned about agents. And I learned about how to contact agents. And I sent out 117 query letters. I was rejected well over 100 times. It took almost 2 years to find an agent. But then I finally found one, and he sold it in 2 weeks. So that was a lesson in perseverance and believing in yourself. It gets kind of dark going. You put this effort into this thing that people. I had some other people read it who were not related to me, who were not close friends, and said, this is a good book. I can see this in a bookstore. So I had faith in the book and in my abilities, but it's like anything. If it's worth doing, it's hard. It's hard to break in. It's the entertainment business, so it's really hard to break in.
I'm thinking after 100 rejection letters, there's not a lot of agents left out there.
Well, there's not. That's a small pool of agents that represent those types of work, the stuff that I do. Maybe, I don't know at the time, 130, 140, something like that. So I was kind of getting like, wow, what do you do after this?
You cleared the herd pretty fast.
Right. 2 years. Yeah.
So, but then you got the book published. And then the second in the Oswald series, Next Time You Die, was released about a year later. And then Crosshairs about a year after that. Mm-hmm. But you said at that time you weren't writing every day. How did you... That's what I understood you to say, that you weren't writing every day until at that time. However...
Well,
how did you crank them out so fast?
I wrote every day I could. I wrote, Maya Angelou said she wrote on the fringes of the day. And I think that's a great way to put it. I wrote on the fringes of the day. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, on the weekends. But it was my dream. Mm-hmm. So I'm living the dream, and I'm not gonna go, I've done a book. I'll go on to something else. Sure. I think I'll be a hang glider now or something. Whatever. No, I'm gonna ride this dog until it's dead,
Sorry. How do you know when the work is finished, when you can't add anything else to it?
Well, when you're done. You tell the story and there's a beginning, middle, and an end to it. So I've never had a problem with when it's done. I've had a problem with, is it done right?
Mm-hmm. My problem is always getting started.
Well, getting started, that's a biggie. That's a biggie, yeah.
So you took Lee Oswald as far as you can take him.
Right.
Okay. So do we ever see him coming back?
I don't know. He might.
Okay. Maybe as an old man.
Maybe as an old man, yeah.
If he gets that long.
If he hadn't been beat up too much.
So before we go into Shit Squad, which is brilliant, are you writing another book right now?
I am not. I'm not. I have one I finished.
Okay.
My agent's got it right now.
Okay. Is it something you can talk about?
It's another detective novel set in Dallas. It's about a detective whose ex-wife hires him to do a case, and things go bad.
As they often do.
They often do with ex-wives, yes. Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay. Before we get into Shit Squad, I want to talk about Kindle in Motion.
Yeah.
Talk about that. I'd never heard about that, so I started doing research for this interview.
I'm going to stop and think. My 7th book was called The Devil's Country. If I brought my Kindle, I'd show you. You've obviously seen it. It's called The Devil's Country. It's published by a publisher called Thomson Mercer, which is a division of Amazon. And Amazon is really forward-thinking, and they're big on technology, obviously. And they have had this idea to capture younger readers. And supposedly it was Jeff Bezos' idea. I don't know if that's true or not, but supposedly. And that was to, on the ebook version of a novel, embed small motion pictures with the book itself. Mm-hmm. So if you open the book on the ebook and it says a guy walks into a bar, on page on the right, on the page on the left, there'll be a little looping video of a guy walking into a bar. And so you see the visual image, and then you read the text, and they match. Mm-hmm. And then you flip 2 or 3 pages, and then whatever they're doing on that page, there's another looping video of that. So they decided to do that with my book, The Devil's Country. And at the time, it was maybe the 2nd or 3rd thriller they'd done it with. They had done it with a couple of public domain books and a couple of romance novels. Mm-hmm. And it was fascinating. I mean, it was a fascinating thing. My editor said my book felt very cinematic, and so she wanted to pitch it to the powers that be at Amazon about doing it, and they said yeah. And so they essentially shot a movie off of that book. Now, you can't watch the video. I have all the video that they shot. You can't watch it and understand the story because there's no dialogue and no music because it's no sound at all. And it's just every 10th scene of the book is that they filmed. And some of it they use still imagery too. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're still doing it. I think that might be something that didn't quite take.
I'm surprised.
Well, it's two different parts of your brain. You know, when you read, you want to read, you create the world yourself in your brain. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't know why. I haven't looked into it. It was fun though for me. First time I've ever been on a movie set was when they were doing that.
You were in a scene.
I was in a scene. I was a bartender. Yeah. You noticed. You did. You did pay. You were paying attention.
Yep. And there were real patrons in there as well. Yes.
Oh my gosh. That was a bar.
Charlie the Drunk or something like that?
That was a bar outside of Las Vegas. And the claim to fame for that bar was where Clark Gable waited while he was waiting to hear if Carol Lombard was alive after her plane crash. He was in the bar where we filmed that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How cool. I figured it might have been a former brothel or something.
Well, it was outside. It was in Nevada. It could have been. It could be a current brothel because there were some interesting characters.
That's too bad that it's died off because if you're trying to catch a younger audience, you're looking for an experience because they're experiential. They care more about going on great trips than they do about buying a home.
I don't know. I don't know whether they're still doing it. I don't see it pop up. I don't hear about it much anymore.
Let's move into Shit Squad.
Let's talk about Shit Squad. Let's do that. Wow.
Where'd you come up with the name? Okay.
I have no idea. I wrote a short screenplay. I write my process is I write a novel and then that's like running a marathon. And then as a cool down period, I write a screenplay just as something else to do, a little stretch a different muscle. And so one time I had this idea for a short film and I wrote a short screenplay And Shit Squad is about a hitman with irritable bowel syndrome. Hit the name, hence the name. Because I didn't want to say shit man because that'd be too on the nose, you see. So shit Squad. And I've some people picked it up, and here in Dallas, a producer picked it up, and we shot last March, and it's going to be showing at the Dallas International Film Festival on October 18th here in Dallas.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
That won the Script to Screen
yes
award
Script
for
Screen Award.
Event Horizon Films.
Right.
And there was a lot of competition.
There was a lot of competition.
Yes.
Right.
That had to be exciting.
It was exciting. I was thrilled. I was very, very excited by that.
Absolutely. So October 18th is going to premiere here. Okay.
Yeah.
But you had a premiere back in May.
Well, we had a smaller showing in May at the Dallas Noir Fest, which is a new small film fest that raised money for the SMU Film School.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to have a larger showing at the Dallas International Film Festival.
Nice. Let's roll a short clip of Shit Squad.
Yeah, let's run. It's a short film, so this is even shorter.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's get a taste of it, though.
So, can we get on with this?
Yeah. You know the rules, Terry. This comes from the top, from Martha. Look, all hands are tied.
What's he saying?
Sound like he's saying, you got the wrong guy.
That's Terry, right?
Pretty sure. I mean, you the one told me where it was gonna be.
I told you where I thought he was going to be.
Jeez. Hoping this snatch is trimmed off a chair.
I hope so, too.
Okay. Seeing as how I'm a big believer in if you want anything done right, get a woman to do it. I took it upon myself to speed this along. In the trunk.
Yup, that's him. I recognize the jacket. What'd you hit him with?
Tire iron. Look, I know you and Pudge go way back. But think about it from my point of view. Is this any way to run a business?
So,
Before you close Terry's account, you're gonna send Pudge to that big crapper in the sky.
Garfield.
you snatched the wrong guy.
Terry's in the trunk. Think you boys can handle him this time?
Yes, ma'am.
I gotta take this. Remember.
Roger, what the hell's going on?
You think you could just stiff Martha and get away with it?
What are you talking about?
7,000, Terry.
I paid. Honest. Ask Clairol. I paid him.
Well,
Well,
you know, Clairol, it's not easy being a woman in this business. Seems like you gotta kick twice as much ass as a man just to stay in the game. I took over from my husband after he passed away in that unfortunate and totally accidental explosion at his girlfriend's double wide. He was a dick with ears. But he had a certain wisdom when it comes to this way of life. He used to say, don't let little problems turn into big ones.
I love strong female characters like that. What made you decide to make the mob boss a woman?
Well, I mean, the mob boss as a man that's been done to death. I mean, so let's mix that up a little bit.
So Skeeta was the guy with the shit, right?
Right. Skeeter was Pudge.
God.
He was great. They all were great. It was big fun.
What's it like seeing the characters you create come to life?
Oh my gosh, it's like the voices in my head are out in the world talking to me in real life. No, it was fun. It was huge fun. Loved it.
That's exciting. You have any other things in the works for film?
Well, I keep writing. I mean, I'm always writing. We're taking Shit Squad on the festival circuit, and hopefully somebody's going to see it and say, "Hey, that'd make a great full length movie." So that's a goal.
What's the season for the film festival?
It's seasons. It's just about every time but Christmas and summer.
Okay.
So we're trying to get into the spring of 23 right now.
Okay. I wouldn't give up on Jesus being born in Dallas to Mary and Joseph.
Yeah, that could come back. Never say never.
Never say never, but nobody else has done it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Who do you read? What books what novels do you read?
Oh my gosh.
What do you
I don't read as much as I used to. I've read so many novels. I read more nonfiction these days, but I'm reading a book about the Francis Ford Coppola and Sofia Coppola about their lives as filmmakers, which is phenomenal. I mean, they are very interesting people. Gosh, my favorite novelists are, I love the Lee Child books, Jack Reacher. I love Michael Connelly books, the Bosch books, James Lee Burke. I just finished a book that won the Edgar this last year, 5 Decembers. You haven't heard about it. It's a phenomenal book. It's about it's a murder mystery, and it starts in action kicks off in Honolulu in late November 1941. And guys, the military police officers investigating a murder, and he's about to get close, and then the Pearl Harbor happens, and then things go downhill from there. Great book.
Awesome. What's your advice for people who want to write a book?
So that's a great question. Try to find another hobby. No, it's not a hobby. It's a calling. It's a passion.
Yes.
I would advise you to just start. You have to get over the hump somehow. There's a number of good classes to take. Some are at SMU. There's a Dallas Writers Workshop is online. Some sort of a class. I don't believe classes with the end all to be all, but I think some kind of a class gets you over the hump, and it puts you with like-minded people, and it gets you. There's a degree of accountability to it too, and I think that helps. But sit down and just get started. You have to decide you're a writer and start at some point. So get to it.
Good. In the 1850s, Henry David Thoreau wrote that most men lead lives of quiet desperation and die with their song still in them. You're not dying with your song still in you.
I hope not. Thank you.
Now, writing is a calling. You're exactly right.
It is a calling, yeah.
Yes. So, awesome. Harry, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Seeing you as always.
Good to see you.
So we look forward to seeing how God uses your talents in the future.
Thank you. This is big fun.
Absolutely. Thank you. So that's our show for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. And again, go to the audio podcast, hit subscribe on that one, and follow us every day. And you'll have a message waiting for you in the morning of encouragement, strength, and hope. So I look forward to seeing you there. I'm seeing you back here in a couple of weeks when we have another interview. So until then, everyone, be well.